guys, welcome. My name is Arin Nicole and I'm the founder of I Am Moonli. So welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about how to survive your period pain because it is real. I've been there, girl. One of the things, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I have endometriosis, which is an inflammatory condition and often associated with painful periods. There's a host of other symptoms outside of our period, but we are known for those excruciating periods that might make us pass out or end up in the hospital, taking lots and lots of painkillers. So that is what I've dealt with, and I've managed to get my pain down from 8 hours of not being able to walk to 30 minutes of just chilling, maybe like a 1 out of 10 pain, and then it goes away. So, and that's what I do as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I work with people with endometriosis, fibroids, PMS, PMDD, PCOS, and really focusing on those hormone-based conditions because it is frustrating that there aren't enough resources out there. And for those looking for more natural methods to deal with their pain, here you go. All right, so the first thing we need to know about period cramps is they are not normal at all. So we were told period cramps are just, part of being a woman. We have to deal with it. It's actually not. Painful periods are actually caused by high levels of prostaglandins. They are like these hormone-like substances that help our uterus contract, and we need our uterus to contract. So we need prostaglandin levels because that's actually what helps trigger our period. Is when our uterus starts contracting, it starts shedding the inner lining, and we have a period. For when your prostaglandin levels are way too high, these menstrual cramps can be very, very painful. And even people with endometriosis, even though it is a little bit different because we have this inflammation, we are associated with having high prostaglandin levels as well as my people with fibroids. So now that we know what is the main trigger of painful period, let's talk about the 10 life hacks every girl should know how to make your period easier. Some of the things I'm gonna suggest. Number one, as a life basis, start eating more fats and protein. So when I'm talking protein, I'm saying 90 grams a day of protein. That is about 3 hamburgers patties. And you wanna start having fats at every meal. And no, not just avocados, please, but also eating nuts and seeds and fish. Fish is going to be your best friend if you do. If you don't, you could always try omega-3 tablet, but I would recommend getting it from the true source if you are not vegetarian or vegan, because the omegas in fish and alongside all the other nutrients and benefits that you're gonna get from fish are tremendous. And these are essentially gonna help your prostaglandin levels. Those prostaglandin levels are high, and usually it's because of, taking in high refined carbs or high refined sugar, but also the wrong type of fat. So if you're taking in a lot of things like canola oil and vegetable oil, that can contribute to those high prostaglandin levels. So you want to replace those with more of our natural fats, like those fish, the nuts and seeds, the olives, the olive oil, the coconut oil. And as you get closer to your period, you want to start increasing those. As I get closer to my period, I actually start increasing my fat intake, and that helps me a lot. And like I just said, refined carbs and refined sugar are associated with high estrogen, and high estrogen is associated with high prostaglandin levels. So if you can start, cutting back on refined sugar, which is in a lot of products, that might help you. For example, like if you're looking at your protein bars and your cereal, your store-bought granola, your bread, there's a lot of sugar in our products. So have a look and try to cut back. I personally use maple syrup and honey for everything, but I still have refined sugar occasionally, maybe like once or twice a month, and it doesn't affect my period, but I used to have it every single day, and that's when my periods were really, really excruciating. All right, take time off on your period. I know obviously I run my own business, so it's much easier for me to say this, but one of the things I do think is really important, and I've seen a lot of people benefit from this, is to take off from like socializing and events that you really don't want to do on your period. And obviously that is hard depending on your age as well, because you might play a sport. I was a competitive swimmer and would swim every weekend, 3 days, like practice throughout the week, and then I'd be at a swim meet for 3 days all weekend. But if you have the choice, try to take off, try not to deal with social media, hang out with too many people that you don't feel like hanging out with. Take time off work if you can. Like if we could, eventually get works to help people when they're on their menstrual cycle, especially those of us dealing with like pain and heavy periods and things like that. So helpful. Next thing that I do and I suggest to my clients is cook your food and snacks before your period starts. Because when your period starts, the last thing you want to do is think about cooking. You're thinking about eating though. You're thinking about that, but do you really feel like cooking? If you can make like batch meals and put it in your freezer or in your fridge, so when you start your period, you can just easily heat it up. That's amazing. I know some people who make bone broth because there's so many nutrients. Essentially, when you're shedding the inner lining, you're losing things like iron every month. So they like to add in the nutrients again with homemade bone broth. I love making like little, I used to love making little peanut butter chocolate bars to have just to like snack on throughout my period. So that can be helpful as well. And depending where you all are in the world, in America, I would say a heating blanket. Here in Australia, I'd say a hot water bottle. Have those ready. Obviously, if you have a heating blanket, just have it plugged in somewhere. That's super easy. But when it comes to a hot water bottle, what I like to do is I typically start my period at night. So if I know that it's coming on, because I chart my cycle, I know what day my period is most likely to come on. And so what I do is I actually go ahead and fill up my hot water bottle that night so I don't have to get up and do it. But when I'm going to bed, I actually go ahead and I fill up the kettle again so that if I don't start my period, say 2 a.m., my hot water bottle isn't super hot at that point, I can just go out there, turn it on, or my partner can go out there and turn it on and it's ready to go. So that's another thing I would recommend, because hot water can really help with that inflammation and pain. Another way to have a healthy, relaxing period is go ahead and have all of your period products ready. So I use menstrual underwear. Used to use menstrual cup, don't love it because of my vulvodynia. It does not feel good. So I usually use my menstrual underwear. I wash it the day before and then I sleep with it on. So like if I start in the middle of the night, I don't have to get up and run around finding underwear because I sleep naked. I don't have to bring it up finding underwear and a pad. I just have my menstrual underwear on and I have my second pair just ready in the bathroom for the next morning when I need to go in and switch. And just have those products ready to go. And if you don't use pads or menstrual underwear, I would highly recommend them. Just because like the last thing you want to do is wake up in the middle of the night and, you know, have bled through your bed sheets and have to clean that. Just go ahead and put it on. Even if you don't end up starting that night, what's the harm in going and having, you know, a pad and some underwear on, just so that that's not another thing you have to take care of. I find that for people who have painful periods, they also have magnesium deficiencies, and magnesium helps our uterus relax. If you have low magnesium levels, that could also contribute to period cramps. So I find that for myself, supplementing magnesium has helped not only with my periods, but also with things like anxiety. And another thing to have on hand for your home remedies of your menstrual cramps is have either your painkillers ready, your herbs made from your TCM, or you can even try ginger. Now, don't quote me because I don't know the amount of ginger, but they have found that in studies, ginger has the same effect for people dealing with pain as things like ibuprofen, which is pretty crazy. So that's another thing you could look into, is just making sure that you have that stuff ready. So because I have endometriosis, I do have painkillers on hand. I rarely ever use them. Obviously around Christmas I do, because I eat a lot more fun foods that my body doesn't love, but that's just living life. So I always have my painkillers sitting right next to my bed and with some water as well. So if I need to pop it, done, don't even have to get out of bed and do it. And lastly, for your period cramp self-care. So I think stretching can be really helpful with cramps. Just getting your body stretched out and getting that blood flowing so it's not stagnant can be really helpful as well. All right, so I hope these little tips are helpful. Remember, I am not a healthcare professional. I'm not your healthcare professional. So always talk to your healthcare professional about what is gonna be best for you. All right, lovelies, thanks so much for watching my video. Sorry, I had a bit of like an allergy fit earlier, but also Merry Christmas, like happy holidays. There's our Christmas tree. Because I think when this video comes out, it's gonna be right before Christmas. So I hope everyone has a really good, safe holiday. Enjoy yourselves. I start my period Monday when this video comes out. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe for future videos. All right, guys, have a good one. Happy holidays. Bye.